The next obvious question is, what is it like to drive? And I tell you, obviously these two cars are very different from each other. I'll just focus just on the E30, and then I can do another video on what's it like between the two. The E30 is a driving experience. It is slow as shit. That's to be sure, right? This came from a time where cars were a lot slower, and so when this thing came out, it was definitely fast for its time. But having gotten used to more modern cars, and of course, all the new cars today are going to beat the pants off of this thing. But because all the new cars today are so disconnected and so digital, you don't get the same driving experience and feelings and I guess sensations that you do when driving this car. So for example, you get it in, the clutch has a kind of heavy engagement point on there. You put the key, they put a key in the ignition. You turn the car on, and there's a lot of vibration as the engine kind of warms up a little bit and kind of settles down. If your throttle cable's a little sticky, it might have a little higher RPM than what it otherwise would be, and you can adjust that really easily. But then, you let off the clutch, and driving the car slow is fairly easy. There's a little bit of a, how to describe it. So when you let off the clutch and you're in gear, and by the way, driving with a dogleg gearbox, which we'll cover kind of later on, is an interesting experience because your first gear is down low where 2 would be, and second gear is up where 3 would be. So once you kind of get used to that, you got to be a little judicious with the throttle because there is a dip as the clutch engages. And it's fine. There's a lot of kind of road feel that you get obviously from the steering wheel because there's hydraulic steering and the suspension is really dialed in very, very well. But it's a really comfortable car to drive. Going over speed bumps or cracks in the road, there isn't this jarring, hard crash, harsh experience that you get, in a car like this, for example, or other cars. So having these kind of lowish profile tires for the time, of course, help to insulate some of that. So driving around is great, but the real fun happens, of course, when you open it up and the car is warmed up. Once she is warmed up, it's crazy how much the motor vibrates. It buzzes, as people say. And what happens is when your hand's on the shifter, not that your hands should be resting on the shifter, when you put your hand on the shifter to change gears, between 5,000 to 6,000 RPMs, maybe like 4,500, there is a lot of buzziness that happens. And then it kind of goes away. It kind of like peaks or resonates around that time, and then it goes away. And something really magical happens when you're driving at speed, maybe like you're getting on a highway on-ramp. I might have mentioned this in one of my other videos, but like everything connects really, really well. So you change gears very quickly. You go right to a red line. You change gears from first to second or second to third, wherever you are. And there's a crisp and a smoothness that happens between gears when you punch the clutch and you change the gears. There's almost like a seamless transition from one to the other one. As you let off the clutch and go back on the gas, there isn't any slippage or anything like that. It's like the car was meant to be driven hard. What a concept, right? Because it is basically a race car. So that's kind of a really cool experience to behold. And of course, again, there's a lot of sensations coming through your butt, through your hands, both on the steering wheel side and also on the gear shift side. And then, this is like simple pleasures of rolling the windows down or popping the sunroof open and getting air in. This car has no air conditioning, and I'm on the fence on retrofitting that. But there's the auditory aspect. These cars, when you open the windows, they were made so that you can enjoy the windows down without having all the buffeting sounds come in. So driving this car with the windows down or the roof open is kind of a fun experience. Try doing that on your newer cars today. They're so aerodynamically well designed that you F it all up if you got a window cracked open. So it's great. And I haven't been able, and obviously I've driven on some of the twisty roads, but I don't feel the need to have to, drive it like an animal. Just even doing just normal kind of spirited driving on twisty back roads here is enough to really enjoy the car. The car does roll a lot, and it takes a little bit of getting used to it because most cars today, or especially a car like this thing over here, is very, very flat. And it almost becomes like an unsettling thing where it feels like, oh, I'm losing a little bit, but that's not how it works. The car naturally rolls. It transfers the weight from one side to the other one, and it's got plenty of grip. to handle that. I guess to kind of summarize where I'm at, am I happy with the car? I would say absolutely yes. It is a phenomenal car to kind of behold and admire and kind of look at in the garage. That's not why I got the car. And I've gotten a lot of not attention, but I get a lot of comments from those that check the car out. It's like, man, that's a cool car. People, it really takes people back to the 30 years ago essentially, or 20 years ago. No, 30 years ago plus, to a totally different time. And that's kind of a cool experience to have. And I'm glad that I get to be in a position to be a steward for a car like this, because I like taking care of my cars and kind of showing the next generation, the new generation of what cars used to be like and kind of be fun. And unfortunately, it sort of made me more of a, that guy, the guy that now complains about how the new cars today aren't like the old cars of yesterday. But I feel like I can ride that line because I've got a new car of today. And I feel like this thing, again, we might get into a video about that, this thing represents, all the best of today's world with a little bit of holdover from the old world, but with a lot of power. Along those lines of power, I mentioned earlier, the first thing I think I said was this car is super slow. You don't really care as much. I know I went on to try to answer, am I happy with the car? The answer is yes, absolutely, period, done. But I want to go back to a comment about the driving experience. What I've noticed that happens is driving these slow cars fast is many times more fun than driving this fast car fast. And I know I'm going into this comparison here, but like I give an example. When you're driving and accelerating this car, you get maybe 6, maybe 7 seconds of acceleration in gear before you have to change gears. Doing that on the M3, the M2, it's probably like half the time, 3 seconds. It's that fast. And so what happens is, going from first to second, you got 6 seconds, then change gears. Then second to third, you got another 6 or 7 seconds. And by that time, you're at like 80 miles an hour, right? So you've got 12 seconds of this kind of enjoyable, auditory, sensational experience going on with this thing. I mean, in 3.5 seconds, you're at faster than 60 miles an hour. So what happens is this car, from just like a driving sensation standpoint, becomes more enjoyable because you're spending more time doing the thing that you want to do, which is that sensation of driving fast, even though you're not going fast. It just sounds like you're going fast. So that puts a lot of smile on my face. Otherwise, I think that probably wraps up my initial observations with the car, just kind of giving you a quick introduction with the new member of the family here. I'm still waiting for the plates to come in. I'm going to be getting plates that'll either be, say, like Johnny C or Johnny, or I'm not sure what I can get away with here in Atlanta. Next video I'll do will be like a comparison between the M3 and the M2 CS. Let me know, leave a comment if you like the content there. If you want me to go into more detail on any particular thing, happy to do so. It's a really cool car, and for those of you that haven't had the opportunity to get intimate with one, I'm happy to kind of be the conduit for that. So let me know, leave a comment, make a suggestion on what sort of materials I could share for you guys. And as always, please like and subscribe. That does help. I am happy to report that over the last, how long has it been now? 3 months, 4 months? I broke over 3,000 subscribers. That's really cool. And it seems like every week I'm adding at least 10 new subscribers somehow magically. So thanks for that. Please share it with your friends if you like this. And I'll see you all next time.